Welcome to my channel. Let's get right into it. Now, I heard some very disheartening news. Very disheartening news. You know, whether you like him or not, Stephen A. Smith is the most prominent sportscaster in the world, and he happens to be black. And he dips and dabbles in politics as well. So Stephen A. Smith is one of the, undisputed, one of the, black voices when it comes to journalism in the world. Okay, but you have a National Black Journalists Association, okay, and ESPN host and commentator Stephen A. Smith receives a thumbs down award from the National Association of Black Journalists, and that's the NABJ, sparking a massive public feud after he fiercely denounced the recognition of the hit job. So Stephen A. Smith is basically saying, and like I said, it all goes down to Willie Lynch. So if this was a plantation, they done took the most influential, highest paid, most recognizable black journalists or journalists in general on the planet. Because I've seen this man in debates. I've seen him on Meet the Press. I've seen him on ABC News talking politics, and then every day on ESPN. And for this individual to get a thumbs down, what is the message that they're sending to you, young black journalists coming up? That means you better step and fetch and do what we say, or we're going to put a hit job out on you. But the beautiful thing about it, Stephen A. Smith is so powerful and his voice is so strong that the NABJ is actually getting backlash. Now, during their annual convention in Atlanta, the National Association of Black Journalists presented Smith with one of his 5 thumbs down awards. Now, the organization stated that Smith has established a recurring public pattern of disparaging commentary directed to prominent black women across politics, sports, and media. So if he has an opinion, okay, he's taking a hit for that. But I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to make it clear. There's not one prominent black woman on the planet. So nobody gets a pass in terms of, being scrutinized or being reported on. Now, the NABJ noted that his rhetoric reinforces harmful narratives and conflict with their mission. Now, they have a mission. Okay, what is their mission? We don't know. But let me continue. Now, critics have previously pointed to a sharp commentary regarding figures like Democratic Rep Jasmine Crockett, not a prominent individual, former First Lady Michelle Obama, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Those two are prominent, but the media, social media, Michelle is trending. They calling her Big Mike. Okay. And then the Vice President, Kamala Harris, she's not even, the whole debate about Kamala Harris is that she's not even black. She's Indo-Jamaican. Okay. She's not even African American. Like I said, we're natives. Okay. My birth certificate says Negro, but Kamala Harris is married to Doug, not Black Doug. Okay. She has no rhythm. She can't dance. She's not a part of us. But this is, like I said, it all boils down to the science. Hit that subscription, hit that notification, because we're going to have these conversations, because it all breaks down to the science. So the message that the NABJ is sending, that if you are a black journalist and you want to be recognized and you want to be a part of the fold, do not speak negatively against any black woman. And like Willie Lynch said, protect the black woman. But like I said, Stephen A. Smith is much bigger than that. I didn't even know what the NABJ was. Okay. But then, I looked it up and checked this out. So the president is a female named Erin Hines. She's the president. Okay. Eva D. Coleman is the vice president. Saya Nyorkor, Nyorkor, is a parliamentarian, female. And then the vice president of broadcast break down to Walter Smith Randolph. And then Corey Addison is the secretary. And check this out. The vice president of digital is Roland Martin. So now I know. Okay, this is a branch of the Democratic Party. They're under the big tent of socialism. They're under the big tent of homosexuality. They're under the big tent of same sex. They're under the big tent of everything and every rudiment against God. And they are under the big tent of destroying, black America by basically voting blue no matter who. So we got to have these conversations. Hit the like, hit the notification. This is not the end of these conversations. So if you want more, you want to hear more, hit the like, hit the notification, because we're going to have these conversations, because Stephen A. Smith was handed, basically basically a thumbs down award from the National Association of Black Journalists, sparking massive public feud after he fiercely denounced the recognition of a hit job, because basically the National Black Journalists Association, clearly is ran by, those people, white supremacy. They tell you what to do. The only way you get that grant money is if you basically be far left and promote this agenda. But everybody with common sense and everybody that believes and loves God, and more importantly, loves himself, is leaving the party. So, good luck to y'all. Recognize me, that'll put my name in the ecosystem, because like I said, Stephen A. Smith is not the only one, but he is the most notable journalist in all of sports, in all of media. So more than likely there's some jealousy there. There's some envy there, because there's nobody that makes more money than Stephen A. Smith. And you could say he sells out, you could say whatever the case is, but he is a conservative black man. And that's all it is. Conservatism versus liberalism, but it's gone too far, and the Democratic Party has lost the party, and the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, has taken over. So bow down, keep bowing, and congratulations. What DJ Khaled would say, you played yourself. With that being said, have a good day. This is your man, Bushan Glover. Peace out.